I found the Airbnb in a small town I wanted to visit. The photos showed a lived-in space, a dark green sofa, hardwood floors with a rug, a small but tidy kitchen. The host described himself as an artist who was rarely home. After booking, he sent only one message: key under the flower pot, no further contact. I arrived at 7 p.m. Just as the sun set. The walkway was quiet, the house dark. When I flipped the light switch, the bulb busted brightly. The place was clean, but the air smelled faintly of cleaning products, like someone had scrubbed it in a hurry. After unpacking, I went to the kitchen for water and noticed a nearly expired carton of milk and an open block of cheese in the fridge. I shrugged it off. Maybe the host forgot to clear it out. Exhausted, I showered and went straight to bed. Then I felt it. The mattress wasn't level. Something was underneath. I rolled over, trying to peer under the bed, but it was too low. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. That's when I froze. Two eyes stared back at me. I couldn't speak, couldn't move, just stared. Then the lights cut out. Total darkness. My phone screen glitched, flickering uselessly. From under the bed came a soft scraping, like someone crawling. I bolted to the living room, jamming my finger against the light switch. Nothing. My pulse roared in my ears. I called the host. No answer. Then thud, something had bumped the bed frame. I forced myself back into the bedroom. Nothing under the bed. But the rug by the door was curled at the corner, as if stepped on. I packed to leave, but the front door wouldn't unlock. The knob turned uselessly. I spent the night in the bathroom, door locked. The whole time, footsteps moved outside. Sometimes they paused. Then knock, knock, gentle, right at the door. At 6 a.m., sunlight finally bled through the curtains. The front door opened easily this time. Before leaving, I glanced back. The bedroom door was ajar. Something stood in the shadows, watching. I left a 1-star review. The space under the bed isn't for storage. The Airbnb was in an old apartment building. The stairwell always smelled faintly of mildew, but I was only staying tonight so I could tough it out. The landlord, Kathy, was a woman in her 30s with a polite smile. When she showed me in, she gave me the basics. Kitchen's usable, fridge is empty. My sister lives here too, but she mostly stays in her room. Shouldn't bother you, I nodded. The sister's room was at the end of the hall, door shut tight, an old set of keys hanging from the knob. The first night, I didn't sleep well. Around 3 a.m., I woke to soft laughter drifting from the hallway. I cracked my door open, nothing there. The sister's door was still closed. I mentioned it to Kathy the next morning. She just smiled. She stays up late watching shows. I'll tell her to keep it down. That night, I went to the kitchen for water and saw the sister. She stood at the sink, back to me, completely still. Her hair was messy under the light, her oversized grey t-shirt hanging loose. I said hello quietly. No response. I backed out. Minutes later, the sink turned on full blast, then stopped abruptly. When I looked again, the kitchen was empty, just a few drops of water on the floor. The second night was worse. I woke to find my bedroom door slightly open. I knew I'd shut it. This time, I didn't turn on the light, just lay there, pretending to sleep. Soon, I heard footsteps, light, pacing outside my door. Did you hear anything last night? I asked Kathy the next day. She paused. Like what? Footsteps, and laughing. She went quiet for a second. When did you see my sister? Last night, in the kitchen. She shook her head. She moved out last month. She doesn't live here anymore. I didn't know what to say. She wasn't joking. I asked to leave early. She didn't ask why, just agreed. As I walked out, I glanced back. The hallway was long and dark. The sister's door was still closed. The keys were gone. My assistant booked this place for my business trip, one of those no-host rentals, where you just get a code and a doorbell location. The house sat in the suburbs, a winding mountain road away from downtown. It was an old wooden cabin, unremarkable, with dead leaves piled on the porch. The key box hung below the doorbell. I punched in the code, stepped inside, and found the place completely empty. Not just vacant, stripped, barely any furniture. I just set down my luggage when I heard it thud from upstairs. I thought maybe the owner was home, but the whole house was supposedly mine for the weekend. I bolted up the stairs. 2 rooms, one empty, the other with an old bed, a desk, and a worn-out rug on the floor. No one, I told myself, it was just a house settling. That night, I made instant noodles, watched TV, and dozed off early. Then, at 3 a.m., I woke to a sound like someone crumpling a plastic bag. Soft, but unmistakable. I opened my eyes. A shadow moved across the ceiling. Not a trick of the light. A footstep. Then another. Pacing. Who's there? I shouted. The steps paused, then came faster. I ran out, staring up the stairs. The door to the upstairs bedroom was open now, a cold draft spilling out. I forced myself up. The room was still empty, but the rug was bunched up, like someone had just gotten out of bed. And the chair at the desk, which had been against the wall, was now pulled up to the window. I packed in a frenzy, ready to bolt. But when I yanked the front door open, a man stood there, early 30s, white dress shirt, his expression blank. He spoke, but the words were muffled, distorted, like sound traveling through water. He took a step forward. I stumbled back, slamming the door. He vanished. No sound, no trace. I called Airbnb support. The agent paused, then said, "That listing was taken down months ago. There's no host, no active contract." I stood there, phone in hand, as the house went dead silent. I don't know whose home I walked into, but I know I wasn't the first to stay here, and I won't be the last. I had just quit my job, and was in a bad place emotionally. I didn't want to see anyone. A friend suggested I get away for a while, and it made sense. I had enough savings to last a few months. So I bought a train ticket without telling anyone where I was going. My only plan was to leave the city and find somewhere quiet to stay. I found a place online. The photos were unremarkable: white walls, a small bed, but the window looked out onto a big tree, the kind you could lose yourself staring at. The host, Miles, only communicated through messages. Before check-in, he told me the key would be under the flower pot by the door, and that I'd have the whole place to myself. No neighbors to worrying about, he said. The first day was fine. The house was clean, the AC a little loud, but bearable. I went to the grocery store, came back, and made spaghetti. After eating, I stared out the window at that tree, listening to the leaves rustle in the wind. It was too quiet, in a way that felt heavy. When I went to shower, I noticed a small mirror had been removed from the bathroom wall, leaving only the nails. I didn't think much of it. Maybe someone took it down and forgot to replace it. That night, I slept poorly. The house was old, and the floorboards creaked, but I chalked it up to the building settling. The next morning, as I made coffee, I heard knocking from downstairs. Tap, 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 not loud, but rhythmic. I looked down. There was nothing below me except a storage room supposedly empty. I crouched, listening. The sound stopped. I opened the storage room door, and a musty smell hit me. The room was empty. I messaged Miles. "Is there someone downstairs?" He replied quickly, "You're the only one in the house. No one else." I didn't press further. I closed the door and told myself I'd imagined it. That afternoon, while hanging laundry on the balcony, I heard laughter from below, a man and a woman, brief, like someone had told a bad joke. I rushed to the stairs and called out, "Is someone down there?" No answer. I went downstairs to check. The door was still locked. The windows were shut. I called Miles. No answer. I recorded the sound, planning to send it to him if it happened again. Around 10 p.m., after a shower, the power went out. I fumbled to the window. Every other house on the street still had lights on. Just as I was about to call someone, I heard the slow, deliberate scrape of a chair being dragged across the floor downstairs. I stood frozen. The sound was too intentional, like someone was sitting there, pulling the chair back inch by inch. I didn't dare go down. A few minutes later, the power came back on. I followed the noise to the storage room. The door was open. I didn't remember opening it. Inside, the light flickered before steadying. A wooden chair sat in the corner now, a damp cloth draped over it. I didn't touch it. I left. On the third day, I decided to check out early. But first, I messaged Miles about the chair. His reply was slow this time. That chair should be in the basement, not the storage room. You said there was no basement, I replied. He didn't answer. That afternoon, as I carried my bags to the door, I saw an old woman hanging laundry next door. I waved. She gave me a flat look. Staying there, huh? Yeah, I said. Just rented out again. Last guy left after 3 days too. She finished hanging her clothes and turned to me. You hear them downstairs. I hesitated. Who? She smirked. Don't know. But that house used to be split. Downstairs tenants, upstairs tenants. They tore the walls down later. But some folks, seems like they haven't gotten used to it yet. I ended up staying that night because I couldn't find another place. I didn't turn off the lights. I didn't sleep. The house was unnaturally silent. No wind, no creaking floors, no pipes. Just the feeling of being watched. When I left the next morning, the storage room door was open again. I didn't go in, but I glanced inside. The chair was gone. In its place was a grey box in the corner, like someone had just put it there. I didn't look back. I texted Miles, checked out, thanks. He replied with 2 words, take care. I didn't leave a review. I just removed the listing from my favorites and told myself next time I'm staying in a hotel,